So what do I got now? I have a funny little story for you. Back in the 90s, some of you know, I had my own shop. I had it for 7 years. I had to give it up. I lost my lease on the property. It is what it is. Anyway, one day I'm in the office doing paperwork, and a lady comes in, and she says, "Do you work on foreign cars?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you have?" She says, "I have an Octalogan." "A what?" She says, "I have an Octalogan." "An Octalogan?" I said. She goes, "Yeah." "Ma'am, I have no idea what an Octalogan is." She looks at me all confused, and she says, "You have one right out in your parking lot, just like mine." So I'm sitting there thinking, like, what the heck is she talking about? I said, "Ma'am, do you have the car with you?" And she says, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Okay, let's go outside and take a look." So I go out there and I look, and she was driving one of these, but it was a late 80s version, and I think they called it a Rabbit. This is a Golf. I think they called it a Rabbit, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been a Golf. It was right about that time when they did switch them from Rabbits to Golfs. So I said to her, "Ma'am," I said, that's a Volkswagen." And she says, "Oh, really? I always thought it was called an Octalogan." I just can't believe nobody ever corrected her. An Octalogan. She was dead serious. And this is not a joke. I am not making this up. I am being 100% serious. 110%. There was one other guy at the shop who I haven't been able to get in touch with for 20 years, but he's still around. They're just, him and I haven't spoken. He can actually verify the story. But anyway, so I got this Volkswagen Golf here. And it's got the Volkswagen 2.5, which, as far as I'm concerned, for Volkswagen, this is the equivalent of the Ford 5.4 or the GM 3.6 prior to 2012. It's not a great motor. So the guy has it towed in to me. Oh, and here's another great story. He has it towed in. This was 2 weeks ago. It's been sitting out in the hot sun for 2 weeks. I go to get in it to push it in today. I open up the door and it smelled like death. Oh my Lord, did it stink. Like, oh, I could still smell it in the shop. It's that bad. They had leftovers in the car from a restaurant sitting in the back seat in 2 containers for 2 weeks in the hot sun. I didn't open them up because they were oozing, but I took them out of the back seat. Absolutely disgusting. Smelled like death in the car. So I'm not cleaning it. That's on them. If you ever have to have your car towed somewhere and you got food in it, take the food out. It's not that hard. Or throw it in the garbage. It's not that hard. Anyway, so he has it towed into me. He said it just stopped on him on the road. And then he hands me something. He said, "This fell out." This fell out. And he hands me this. You know what that is, right? I haven't looked at it yet. I only put it up this far. I have not looked underneath it yet. From the top, you can't see anything. So let's put this up in the air and see what kind of carnage we have. Because obviously that's a connecting rod, and this is part of the block, because that's part of the oil pan, I believe. Hopefully it's not part of the transmission. I don't know yet. But anyway, yeah, so let's get this up in the air and see what we got. All right, so she's up in the air. And front here looks okay. I don't see anything. Obviously that was not a bell housing bolt, because the bell housing bolts are this style. Where the hell did that connecting rod come from? Oh wait, there it is, right there. That's cool. All right, so that's part of the mount, front cover. I don't know what that is, but that's yeah, that's broken. Yeah, there's obviously no fixing that. That's actually still bolted in place. Yeah, that's part of the block right there, and it's bolted to the front cover still. All right. So I'm going to be doing an engine on this. I actually already ordered one. It's here. Excuse me. But yeah, so that's going to be my next project. Anyway, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the 2.5 Volkswagen motor. Volkswagen doesn't make a bad car. I think they overcomplicate things, that's all. I wouldn't own one, to be honest with you. I'm really not a big fan of them. And they're nice to drive, I will say that. Just not a fan of them, only because I got to work on them. If I didn't have to work on them, I probably wouldn't care. I'd probably buy one. But since I got to work on them, well, thank you. Yeah, so let's get going on that. That's actually, it's the end of the day today. I just wanted to get that up in the air and take a look at it. So this is going to be tomorrow's project.